Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, Gardening in Cold Spring Harbor. Welcome back to my home. Welcome back to my green room. In today's video, we're going to talk about Christmas cactus care tips for beginners. I'm going to tell you guys everything you need to know when it comes to growing, caring for, as well as propagating your Christmas cactus plant. I'm also going to share with you a very easy, quick, and free propagation method when it comes to our Christmas cactus plant. In fact, the propagation method as well as the care tips which I will share with you today apply to all of our holiday cacti plants. That includes Thanksgiving cactus, Christmas cactus, as well as Easter cactus plants. So for those of you looking for that online gardening channel that offers tips, tricks, easy, yet proven gardening advice to take your home garden to that next level. Don't worry, more guys, stick around with me today. Start with going below this video and clicking the subscribe button. If you are enjoying the content of my garden videos, if you find my garden videos to be useful, helpful, informative in any way, don't forget to click the bell icon as well. YouTube will send you notifications every single time I'll upload a new garden video. Now let's get gardening. So Christmas cactus is a tropical plant that originates and lives in the tropics of South America, in the crooks of tree branches. You will find it growing in dappled sunlight, in very warm temperatures and plenty of humidity. So when you hear the term Christmas cactus, or even Thanksgiving cactus, or even Easter cactus, forget the whole cactus theme. Get that idea out of your head altogether. Even though the name contains the term cactus in it, or cacti in it, our holiday cacti have absolutely nothing to do with the cacti family. They do not grow in a desert. You will never find them growing anywhere that's very, very dry and very, very hot, such as our Sahara Desert or even Arizona. In fact, they live in a totally opposite climate. They prefer bright, indirect sunlight. They do not grow in the ground. They grow in the crooks of tree branches. They love plenty of humidity and prefer day temperatures to be anywhere between 75 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So the first big mistake that many beginner home gardeners make is associate Christmas cactus or any of the holiday cacti with our traditional cacti that grow in the desert. So the proper care and maintenance of our Christmas cactus plant starts with understanding of where this houseplant stunner came from. Another huge mistake that many make is treat this beauty as a winter holiday annual plant. Many of us get the stunner as a present for the winter holidays, for Christmas. We watch it bloom, and many of us just get rid of it, throw it out, thinking that this plant is done blooming and growing once and for all. No and no and no, guys. That cannot be any further from the truth. Yes, even though this plant is mainly widely sold around the holiday seasons, this beauty is a tropical houseplant perennial, and with very minimal, basic, and cheap care, you can have this stunner grow in your home for years and years and have it rebloom for you multiple times a year, not just for the Christmas holiday. So let's get right into the care tips. The best way to understand a plant, any plant for that matter, is to observe it. Don't ever be afraid to get closer to your plant, to look at it, to touch it, to use your tactile senses to understand our plant better. So our Christmas cactus plant, when it is forming those flower buds and when it starts to bloom, most of the time that's around the month of November and December. So the buds will form horizontally, stemming out of our plant's stems or this green foliage. Once those buds, those horizontal shaped buds, will start to open up and bloom and turn into flower blossoms, which by the way range in various colors, anywhere from magenta to white to peach to pink, all shades of pink. Beautiful, beautiful blooms. Those blooms will start to bend upward in a 90-degree angle, which is also very beautiful and interesting to observe. Another great thing about our Christmas cactus, or any of our holiday cacti for that matter, I have various cacti growing here in my green. I have the Christmas cactus. I have the Thanksgiving cactus right over here, which of course is not blooming either. I also have my Easter cactus right over here. And you can see the difference in the leaves or the foliage. Now the Christmas cactus and the Thanksgiving cactus have this pointy, sharp looking edges to their leaves, to their foliage. However, they're not prickly, they're not sharp at all. Again, that is the main difference between a cactus and a holiday cactus. So don't be afraid to touch it. Don't be afraid to feel the foliage. And most of the time, by feeling the foliage, you're going to learn a lot about your plant. Your plant will let you know if it's not happy growing in a certain container or growing in certain soil. So always look at the condition of your plant's foliage. Now, our Christmas cactus, as I just mentioned, always blooms around November and December. Then what? Then it stops blooming, and come the spring season, that is when the vegetative growth starts to happen. It wakes up from its winter sleeping phase or dormancy phase and starts to grow new leaves, new foliage. They're very easy to notice because they do differ slightly in color from the more older, mature leaves. So when is the best time to fertilize our Christmas cactus plant? Between early spring and fall. I like to fertilize my holiday cacti between the month of March and beginning of October. The fertilizer that I like to use is a organic, slow release house plant fertilizer. Make sure that that fertilizer which you will be using will be high in nitrogen composition. Remember that NPK ratio. So the first number, the N, which stands for nitrogen, must be higher than the other two ratios. Why? Because nitrogen is directly responsible for beautiful green foliage growth. And during the month of March and end of September, that is exactly what we want our holiday cacti to do, is to put on that lush, beautiful green growth. Now, once you start to see flower buds form, so anywhere between middle of October to sometime middle of November, that is when I stop fertilizing my holiday cacti. Why? Because you will disturb their flowering cycle if you continue to fertilize your holiday cactus plants. So again, there are three holiday cacti. We have our Thanksgiving, cactus, which I have right over here, it is actually the earliest and the longest blooming cactus out of the three. It usually blooms fall to early winter, so around Thanksgiving Day holiday. Our next holiday cactus will be our Christmas cactus, which I have over here, and I know that it looks almost identical to the Thanksgiving cactus. This starter will be the next to bloom for us, sometime around mid to late winter, typically around Christmas holiday, as the name suggests. Then the third beauty that is a part of the holiday cactus family is our Easter cactus. This one does differ quite a bit from the other two, especially in the shape of the leaves or the foliage. This beauty blooms for us late winter into early spring, so around the Easter holiday. So we just spoke about the blooming time frames for all of the three holiday cacti. So why does our Christmas cactus bloom specifically in the month of November and December? The blooming time for any plant has to do with amount of daytime sunlight, guys. So that sunlight is that engine that drives our Christmas cactus plant, or any plant for that matter, to start forming flower buds and blooming. That sunlight, daylight, is what helps our plant photosynthesize. So those shorter days and longer nights that we get in the fall, and that drop in air temperature, the decrease in air temperature, is exactly what prompts our Christmas cactus to start forming buds and to bloom. So ideally, Christmas cactus prefers temperatures between 75 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So how can you help your Christmas cactus form those buds and to bloom? Say if you're doing everything correct throughout the year, and then you're just not seeing those buds form. You can help your Christmas cactus by limiting the amount of sunlight, increasing those darkness hours, and by lowering the temperature. So if you lower the temperature to anywhere between 45 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit for at least 6 weeks in a row, and increase the amount of darkness, meaning either cover your Christmas cactus with a cloth towards the end of the day, or move it to a darker, cooler location. And by doing that, by increasing the amount of darkness, by decreasing the amount of light, and by decreasing the air temperatures, you will stimulate your Christmas cactus to start forming those buds and to bloom for you once again. Now let's talk about perfect growing conditions for our Christmas cactus, or any of our holiday cacti for that matter. Many say that our Christmas cactus plant needs dappled or scattered sunlight. I leave my holiday cacti plant right over here in my green room, which is located on the southern side of my home. All of my plants get plenty and plenty of bright sunlight per day, and as you could see for yourself, they're all doing great, wonderful. All of my house plants are nice and green. So that lack of daytime sunlight in the late fall, early winter is exactly what triggers the blooming of these beautiful plants. In fact, Christmas cactus is a plant that's a part of a succulent family. So when you are planting, transplanting, or even propagating your Christmas cactus plant, you do need to consider what potting medium you are using. You cannot use a potting medium that's too high in compost. Why? Because that compost, that high amount of compost, will keep too much dampness, too much moisture in the container. Hence, you will end up with root rot. Root rot is a very common problem associated with Christmas cactus plants. And it always starts with using the incorrect potting medium with growing or transplanting our Christmas cactus plant. How often do you water? I cannot give you an exact amount of days. All I have to tell you is do not overwater your Christmas cactus or any of your holiday cacti. Do not allow it to over dry either. The soil has to be moist at all times. So how do you check? You use your index finger and you place that index finger into the soil or the potting medium of your plant. If the top 2 inches, or if you go down to the first knuckle on your finger and that soil, the potting medium feels dry, there's no wetness left on your fingertip, that means it's time to water your plant again. If you feel moisture to the first knuckle of your index finger, that means it's not yet time to water. Always water your Christmas cactus plant thoroughly. Allow any excess moisture to run out into a saucer or a tray. Allow it to sit there for about 10 to 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, whatever moisture, extra water is left in the saucer or a tray, we always dump it out. If your Christmas cactus is not blooming and you are not sure what is happening, most of the time our Christmas cactus plant or holiday cacti do not bloom because they're either exposed to too much daylight or too much heat or very warm air temperatures. So for our Christmas cactus plant to bloom, the nighttime hours should be at least 14 hours or more, and between 6 to 8 hours of daylight only. Yes, guys, that's little, 6 to 8 hours. Perfect temperature for flower bud formation and for bloom are anywhere between 50 to 65 degrees. By exposing our Christmas cactus plants to temperatures as low as 45 degrees Fahrenheit, that is exactly how you can boost and prompt that flower bud formation. Also, springtime is the best time to propagate our Christmas cactus plant or any of our holiday cacti for that matter. Why? Because that is when our Christmas cactus plant will be setting that new green lush growth. And by cutting off some of the growing segments, we are encouraging our Christmas cactus plant to put on more of that green foliage growth. And right now, guys, I'm going to share with you a very easy, very quick, and very, very cheap, in fact, free Christmas cactus propagation method. So here is this fast, easy, and cheap, I may even say free propagation method that I was talking about. This method can be used with any of our holiday cacti plants. Very, very easy, guys, I promise you. So this propagation method is using toilet paper or facial tissues that all of us have laying around our house. All you're going to need is a plastic tight sealed container. You're going to need toilet paper or tissue paper, and of course our cactus cuttings. You could see all the moisture that I have here happening on the lid. As soon as I took the lid off, you could see all the humidity that is taking place inside this container because, again, it's very tightly sealed. So you would take a cutting, which you would cut off from a Christmas cactus plant yourself, or maybe say a piece of a segment broke off. Great, guys, use it to your advantage. You would take a roll of toilet paper, rip off a few pieces. You would wrap up your leaf segments inside this toilet paper like I have had. You cover it with more toilet paper and you water it thoroughly. Yes, you water enough that you would see water dripping off of this tissue or toilet paper. That is not too much water, guys. That is enough water to create that humidity level that we are looking for. You leave it there, you forget about it for 2 to 3 weeks. You don't add any more water, you don't even touch it, and guess what happens? I want to show you guys. Let me pull out one of the segments. Can you see the root growth? It's that easy and that simple. And once you see enough root growth happening, you can plant the segment in a separate container and you will have a brand new Christmas cactus plant growing in your home. I want to show you guys a smaller segment. I took a tiny segment like this one. A piece just broke off of my mature plant. I placed it in the same container. Look guys, root growth happening as well. You can grow a whole brand new Christmas cactus plant from a tiny segment cutting like this one, using basic household materials that you're laying around your home. Everybody has a container and everybody has water and everyone uses toilet paper. So it's that easy, that basic. Now let's move on to what kind of a container you will need, what kind of a growing medium you will need to correctly grow your Christmas cactus plant. Now that we have propagated our segments, now that you see the root growth, what are you going to need? You're going to need a container. It doesn't have to be a fancy ceramic expensive container. It doesn't even have to be a terracotta container. It can be a basic, cheap, recyclable plastic container. Make sure though, it will have plenty of drainage holes on the bottom. And we do not want to cause any root rot. You always use these basic, simple plastic containers. You can see I have them for every one of my holiday cacti plants. Now the potting medium. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, never use potting medium that's high in compost. That compost will cause too much moisture, too much dampness to sit and will end up being a root rot issue for your Christmas cactus plant. So our Christmas cactus plant is part of a succulent family. So the grow medium that you're using has to be very well draining, very fluffy, very airy, very loose. I like to use potting mediums that are specifically formulated for cacti, palm, citrus, as well as succulents. This is just an example, guys. I know that many of you are not fans of Miracle Grow. In fact, many of you just dislike it, stop watching the videos, leave negative reviews because of the product like this being shown. This is just an example, guys. There are so many companies out there that makes potting mix, potting medium specific for succulents, for cacti, for palms. You can use any brand that you can get your hands on, guys. Again, I'm not associated with Miracle Grow either. I do not work for them. I do not profit from this company. I want to quickly show you guys how loose, how fluffy, and how airy and well draining this potting medium is. So this is exactly the kind of medium you want to use when either repotting, potting, or even planting our propagated Christmas cactus cuttings. And again, remember where it grows in nature. To give it the best chance at growth and life, we must replicate its natural growing environment. And in nature, it grows on bark of trees, in the crevices of tree branches. So whenever you're transplanting or planting your Christmas cactus or any holiday cactus plant, never bury it too deep. Just barely on soil surface will do the trick. Just plain, you do not want to suffocate its delicate root system. Here is an example of a Christmas cactus cutting that I propagated just a matter of a few weeks ago. You could see that it's nice and green. The foliage, the stems are nice and firm. You want to see this deep green color, and you never want to see your segments mushy or shriveled up. If you are seeing color changes to the stems or the foliage or any shriveling, mushiness, that is the first indication of possible root rot. What would you do in that instance? In that instance, you have to transplant your plant immediately. You take it out of the existing container, you thoroughly wash out the roots in the sink, and you repot it. Just make sure that when you're repotting, use very, very basic potting medium. Do not add any fertilizers at that point. It has to be as basic as it can get. Why? Because your plant needs that time to now recover, to make sure that you don't lose that plant altogether. Now let's talk about possible insects or pests that can be associated with our holiday cacti. The biggest insect or pest enemy of our holiday cacti are fungus gnats. Water fungus gnats. They're these tiny, black colored, almost microscopic sized flies almost. Many of us confuse fungus gnats with fruit flies, especially if we keep our houseplants in the kitchen or dining room area. So how do we prevent fungus gnats? How do we combat them? First and foremost, you should water your houseplants from below. Always use a saucer or a tray. Pour the water into the saucer or the tray. Let the roots absorb as much water as the plant needs. And after 10 to 15 minutes, spill out the remaining liquids, my fellow home gardeners. Another great way to trap fungus gnats is by using sticky traps such as this one. This is just an example. They're sold widely in garden centers, even Amazon carries them. They're sold in a larger economy size sheets where you can cut them to the shape or sizing of your liking, or they already come pre-cut like this. You just peel off the paper and you insert them right into the soil of your houseplants. And you could see how many fungus gnats these great sticky traps actually catch. It's actually very, very, very good method. Another thing that many of us home gardeners like to do when growing holiday cacti plants is putting pebbles or rocks inside our saucers or trays to create that needed humidity level. So as you're pouring the water on those pebbles, you are increasing the humidity level. I don't do that. I don't add any pebbles because I do not believe in that care or maintenance tactic, guys. But wherever you live, whatever state, gardening zone, longitude, latitude, you should always adjust your gardening care tactics based on what works for you, for your home, and for your house plants. This is it for this video, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me here in my home, in my green room in Long Island, New York, Zone 7A. In today's video, I gave you easy yet proven Christmas cactus care tips for beginners. If you guys have enjoyed the content of today's video, if you found today's video to be useful, helpful, informative in any way, show me that support by clicking thumbs up below. Leave your comments in the comment section as well. Let me know, have you ever used toilet paper or facial tissues to propagate your holiday cacti? If so, has it worked for you? Share some pictures with me, guys. I love communicating with each and every single one of you. For those who haven't yet subscribed to my gardening channel, Gardening Cold Spring Harbor, what are you waiting for, guys? Super easy for you to do, super pleasing and rewarding to me. Just go below this video and click the subscribe button. Don't forget to click the bell icon as well if you want YouTube to send you notifications every single time I'll upload a new garden video. Be healthy, happy, stay warm, guys, and happy gardening, and I'll see you again in my new upcoming garden videos. Bye, guys.